How's it going, Minties? The Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition. And today, join me as I do an overview of the DCeased hardcover from DC Comics. So please stay tuned. Now, this is a hardcover I've been very excited to get, mainly because of the creator right here, Tom Taylor. I'm a huge fan of his all-new Wolverine. I was a big fan of his Spider-Man stories that he wrote. And he's written issues of Injustice. Actually, he's written a whole chunk of Injustice. So I'm very excited to get that omnibus because I did read some through the Comixology app. And I'm kind of digging it. So, DCeased. It's finally out in hardcover format. Now, let's check it out. Because, sure, you were probably already able to tell, but it is not a deluxe edition. It is your standard size hardcover edition. So what does that mean to some of you that don't know what that is? It's practically the same size as a trade paperback. It's just because of the backboard here that it looks a little taller. But nope, you're getting the exact same size as a trade paperback. It does not have a dust jacket. So this is pretty much art on board. It does have like this soft feel to the side here. I kind of dig that. And here is the back. It retails for $29.99. Now, let's look inside really quick. Okay, so let's get this open. Now, right from the beginning, it does have the thick matte paper, so it's not your glossy paper that a lot of these standard size hardcovers have had over the years, and including the deluxe hardcovers. However, this one is just like, it's almost like a thicker version of what you would find inside of a comic book. It's not as glossy, so the art really doesn't pop out. Now, let's talk about the story, because it is a pretty simple story, because I'm sure a lot of people, when they see this, they're probably thinking, oh, it's like Marvel Zombies or Blackest Night, but it's not, because it kind of reminds me a little more of the Necrosha X storyline, which I'm a huge fan of. So pretty much, the Justice League are fighting Darkseid, and then Darkseid, of course, discovers the secret little formula to the anti-life equation. And it creates this techno-organic virus, Phalanx, that kind of works like a zombie apocalypse. So 6 million people right off the bat are affected. And I'm sure the cover gave away one of those people, right? So that's pretty much it. And so these heroes have to gather together and figure out how to reverse this so they can get their friends and loved ones back. Now, this particular volume collects DCeased. I assume that's how you're supposed to say it, by the way. 1 through 6, and then the DCeased, A Good Day to Die. And that was a one-shot. It is 224 pages, and like I said, it is $29.99. Now, let's talk a little bit about the artwork. Now, I'm a huge fan of Tom Taylor, so regardless, I was going to pick this up. Now, I was not that fan of Trevor Hairsine. He was the guy that did Deadly Genesis. He done some stuff for Top Cow Studios. But his artwork in here it works. And it's pretty interesting because he's working with Stefano Gaudinao. Hairsine is drawing the stuff here on Earth, and Gaudinano's drawing the stuff on Apocalypse. So you get a difference in the art style. And while normally that doesn't work in the same comic book, it does when you have two different locations, and I think that works rather well. Now, normally when I do these, I just talk about the books, and I don't really talk about the review of the book, but damn was this fun. Has anybody else read this? I really enjoyed this freaking story. It was so surprising. And, you know, like I said, I was expecting probably the same thing that a lot of people were with this cover, just the Marvel Zombies or Blackest Night story ripoff. But I had enough faith in Tom Taylor to be like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. And it's in hardcover format. Unfortunately, not deluxe hardcover, but hey, what are you going to do, right? Now, I want to give credit where credit is due, and that is to Rain Barretto for this. I know this is going to sound weird, but the colors on the blood. I love how the colors just are so different in the different blood types. Like, you know, you have it dark if it's somebody that's had blood for a while or has been infected for a while. Then you have this red, like a bright red blood. I don't know. I noticed that, and I don't know if it was the cover. I'm not really sure. but it was just one of those things that popped out to me, so I figured I needed to mention it. And I mean, just look at that. That is freaking gory and beautiful at the same time. In the story, damn, I had a lot of fun reading this. It was a nice little breath of fresh air, because I'm doing a huge readathon of Daredevil, and I'm going through some old Silver Age issues, so I needed just a nice little break. And usually this is the kind of stuff that I find in manga, but anyway, I really enjoy this. Now let's look at the extras in the back. So here are the variant covers. Let's look at each one of them. Some really cool ones. Then you have the variant movie covers, the homage covers to horror movies like Nightmare on Elm Street or It, or what's that, Final Destination. And then the original pitch by Tom Taylor. And that is it. Now let's look at the binding. Sure, you were probably able to tell when I was holding the book down. It is glued binding. So that's why when I was flipping through the beginning, I had a hard time staying open. And then when I was flipping through the end here, looking at some of these variant covers, I had to hold it down. So yeah, it's another thing to keep in mind. It is glued binding. But as far as the enjoyment of it, it's still a pretty good read. Here, let me show you an example of. And so you get gutter loss like that because of the glued binding. Just something to keep in mind that I like to make people aware of. Or here's another example. Like I said, it's not terrible, but yeah, I know some people get annoyed by that kind of stuff. So I needed to point out the fact that there is some gutter loss. And that was the contents of the book. Let me know in the comments down below if you're planning on picking it up. And I hope I was able to show you the size comparison with the other two formats that DC has put out. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.